Hi. A few days ago, I was reading an article by Kerry Goyle. And as I read along, I was like, wow, she is sharing what's been on my mind for a while now. So I thought I will vocalize our thoughts together properly for all of you, in particular, business owners. So here I am. Now, if we look at the year 2020, the year of the COVID 19 pandemic, probably the biggest catastrophe of its kind for mankind since the Second World War. That's what I believe. We all know that there's been immense sense of turmoil and fear and uncertainty and unpredictability that spread like wildfire, and the chaos that defined the entire globe, where survival itself came into question. We're aware of all of that, right? And yet, in the midst of all of that turmoil, while old business models crushed under pressure and even disintegrated, and organizations quickly created new policies of, let's say, working remotely and many other processes, of course, to keep the action going. Business owners, on the other hand, discovered various ways of survival, and some went a step ahead to learn a new skill that will help them in the years to come. It's a clear example of what warriors do in times of adversity, isn't it? I am quite proud of that clan of people who have actually moved forward, and they're very actually inspiring for all of us. The leaders who thrived during the pandemic were the ones who remained rigid towards the achievement of their outcomes and also flexible in a way that they would reach there, and also those who chose the best possible course of action. So I think it's extremely important to appreciate all the three elements here. Those leaders demonstrated a leadership skill called strategic agility, which is imperative in the current times, especially because there's a huge element of unpredictability. And we can see that as the COVID numbers are still rising. Leaders who have demonstrated and who continue to demonstrate this leadership skill definitely have a clear vision ahead, of the way ahead, and they use data to predict how situations might unfold. They try and find opportunities in the middle of crisis. They constantly improvise and take decisive actions to take full advantage of new developments in the changing times. As a business leader of today, you need to develop your strategic ability and agility and make it a habit to deploy it in the face of the dynamism and the current, scenario and the changing market conditions. I loved a phrase that she used: an organization is only as agile as the people who power it. It's so true, isn't it? And leaders need to encourage strategic agility in the team. Such organizations will be able to define clear strategies based on future trends. They will be ready to innovate and move in the right direction, isn't it? Operational agility was very important when the COVID-19 crisis started. It allowed organizations to acclimatize to the dynamics, to the lockdown orders, and to also find a way to deal with the customer fears. So we saw adaptations of various kinds, like a workforce stationed remotely, or developing a stronger online presence, and so on and so forth, or let's say contactless delivery, a million such things. But today, as the pandemic drags on, operational agility is not good enough. It's there, it's important, but it's not all, because we need to find newer ways, right? The fact is that almost every organization has made operational changes over the last 1 year and has probably even put away the concept of competitive advantage. Having said that, companies that outperformed their competition were those that saw beyond the crisis. They didn't just consider what measures they would need to just kind of sail past a quarter or so, Q2, Q3, Q4, didn't matter. They chose a course of action that would serve them well in the long run and allow them to capitalize on the market changes. In other words, the time has come today for leaders and organizations to become more strategically agile than ever before. think through your strategy and build your list of strategic priorities, if I may say, and let everyone in the organization understand why they are important and how it's so important to stick to it, to support these priorities. So alignment on strategic priorities is going to help your organization move closer to its goals. Your workforce also has to be very resilient in these times because we don't know what the future holds currently. We should be able to cope with the stress. We should be able to bounce back with vigor from any setbacks, isn't it? So if your presence and focus are worked on, then you can enhance your resilience levels. That's what the common belief is. So your team can cultivate these attributes through mindfulness practices of various kinds, like meditation and so on and so forth. You could also improve their focus through a rational goal-setting processes, the whole set of processes that make it feasible to actually achieve your goals. It's extremely important. And by the way, it's believed that resilience interventions, like let's say counseling or coaching, can reduce mental distress symptoms by an average of about at least 30%, which is really, really good. Another aspect that's really important is upskilling the team of a company for your survival and competitive edge. It's extremely important. So while many leaders have put aside professional development budgets since last year, and I know that's for a fact, it is also an area which we don't need to ignore for too long. Maybe what we can do is audit the workforce and determine which skills are the most crucial, the most pressing, the most important for your industry. And apart from the technical skills of your industry, I think it's important to also focus on things like life skills, critical thinking, creative thinking, emotional intelligence. All of these are very, very important. If you don't have a budget for professional development, you can also do this for your employees, in a different way, and you can still make it happen in terms of their growth and learning process. You could, for example, list out relevant topics, and every week what you can do is have a topic listed and led by a different employee over a webinar or something like that. And as a business leader, you yourself also can kind of, send out videos to your workforce and try out more innovative ways of how you can do it for free and still have growth happening in the industry. We simply need to understand that going forward, we have to extend ourselves from being operationally agile to being strategically agile. And we have to do that because there are uncertain times ahead. And the time has probably come where we need to create a strategic framework of sorts for action that emerges from a conjunction of all of these things, a conjunction of, let's say, innovation, of your strategic priorities, and your robust and your resilient workforce. So cheers to your leadership survival skills and good luck to all of you business leaders. Take care.